But what I find the most disturbing is that this petition is created by someone calling themselves Guinevere Beck. Hi and welcome to Blossom Talk. I'm Kjersti Flaa, and here on my channel I talk about my good and bad experiences in Hollywood and working as an entertainment reporter. First of all, thank you to everyone who subscribed to my channel so far. I see sometimes that I have a lot more views than subscribers. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. It means a lot to me. And of course, hit the notification bell so you don't miss an episode ever. Also, of course, thank you to everyone who sent me so many amazing tips. This whole episode is from you guys, things that you sent to me and people who contacted me to tell me their story. I got an email from someone who worked with Blake in a movie, so you're going to hear her story later. It was also brought to my attention that a lot of people in the industry are watching my channel, which is pretty cool. Some actors that are kind of high profiled, and so that's really cool. So thank you everyone for being so supportive and engaging and helping me create this amazing community here, because it's all about you guys. Also, thank you guys so much for sending me a link to the Ari Emanuel interview that was leaked now. As we talked about yesterday, the interview with the WME CEO was supposed to be aired on Freakonomics, and then someone forgot to tape it. So magically, it just disappeared. I listened to the tape and it was exactly actually the same quotes as was leaked to the Hollywood Reporter from the event already. So there was nothing new in there. But thank you to everyone who sent it to me. I really appreciate it. I was wondering actually why they were so afraid of getting this out there, because it basically already was. All those quotes were already out there in the media. But I think probably the reason is it sounds worse when it's actually coming from his mouth. The way he says it, Baldoni, whatever his name is, the nonchalance and the way he's saying it just doesn't sound very good. And I think another reason, obviously, is that it hurt or it harmed WME's reputation. Like I said yesterday, they've closed off their comment section, so it's not good for the company. So I think Ari Emanuel probably wants to hide under a rock for a little while because this does not paint him in a good light. Okay, so someone sent me a link to this change.org campaign that someone started to try to kick Justin Baldoni out of SAG-AFTRA and PGA, which is Producers Guild of America. It's so disturbing to me, and I clicked on it. It only has 140 signatures, but what I find the most disturbing is that this petition is created by someone calling themselves Guinevere Beck. That is a fictional character, and if you watched You on Netflix, it's a TV show in the horror genre with Penn Badgley as the main character, who is a murderer. He stalks this girl and he kidnaps her, and as far as I remember, he ends up killing her. She's not the only person that he's killing in this TV series. But the fact that the person who created this petitioner is this fictional character, taking that into consideration here, I feel like this is someone who created this that has a very absurd sense of humor. And the person who sent this to me said, in the email, like, oh, Ryan Reynolds created a petition to get Justin Baldoni kicked out. I don't know if he's the one behind this, but I feel like this is the kind of sense of humor that's typical for Ryan Reynolds. I'm not going to point fingers. I'm just going to say that, who knows? So this petition really wants to kick Justin Baldoni out of Hollywood based on some allegations that has not been backed up by any receipts or any evidence yet. And the person here who wants to hide their own identity, which I think says a lot about this person. Like, why can't you stand up for something about something? If you want to ruin someone's life and career, you can't put your name on it. The person saying that, as a concerned member of the entertainment industry, it deeply saddens and angers me to witness no substantial action against abusers in our industry. The case of Justin Baldoni is a disappointing example who, despite being accused of SH, a co-star Blake Lively in The Workplace, still holds membership in both the Directors Guild of America and Screen Actors Guild. Though dropped by WME, it's disheartening to see that the seriality of the allegations doesn't seem to affect his standing in our industry guilds. She continues more, saying that 25% of women experiencing SH harassment at work, blah, 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 which we now, most of us agree that Blake Lively probably didn't. So the person continues to say that the core of the matter is accountability. It's high time for our industry guilds to take a firm stance against such behavior, sending a clear signal to any potential abuses that it will not be tolerated, such behavior, blah, blah, blah. So this person is suggesting that every time a man gets accused of something without any evidence, that person needs to be kicked out of all the guilds. It's sent out to both Leslie Linka Glatter, who's the Directors Guild of America president. She directed a lot of really good TV shows, Homeland, amongst others, and Fran Dretschner. I never know how to say her last name, but she is the president of SAG-AFTRA, the union. Hopefully these people don't even take this seriously, because this is just like so appalling to me. Anyways, this morning the news broke also that Blake Lively, who wanted to subpoena everyone on Justin Baldoni's team, basically 2.5 years back of phone records and emails and everything, that was denied by the judge. Which is a good thing, you know, as Brian Friedman, Justin Baldoni's lawyer, kept saying in the media, like, Blake Lively is not the FBI, and this is not a criminal case. So, yeah, so he denied that. So now they're going to try again, probably, and but they need to, like, narrow it down. I don't see any reason why they should have 2.5 years worth of records from everyone, from like dentist appointments to, you know, doctors to shrinks, you know, all these things that they, you know, had nothing to do with this. And as they're saying themselves in the lawsuit, this alleged smear campaign didn't start until this summer. So why do they have to look back 2.5 years? Okay, as I said, I had received an email from someone who worked with Blake Lively. She said it was okay for me to share this story. I checked her out on IMDb. She's a real person and she was in these movies, but she didn't want me to share her name, which is very understandable. She still works as an actress. But I wanted to tell her story because some of it actually reminds me of my story with Blake. So she says that I worked with Blake in 2018 in a film called The Rhythm Section. It was a very unpleasant experience, only because of Blake, as everyone else was lovely. She said, I'm not a big star, but I worked alongside a lot of big stars. Amongst them, Alan Parker, Emily Watson, Robert Carlyle, Chris O'Dowd, Pierce Brosnan, Julianne Moore, Brendan Gleeson, Jude Law, Sterling K. Brown, Sean Connery, and Donald Sutherland. She says that everyone was lovely to work with, except Blake Lively. She says she was actually troubled for a few days after working with her because of the way she treated me. The film was directed by a very nice woman called Reed Morano. I had 4 days work on the film. This director apparently didn't work since this movie, which I find interesting. There were a lot of tension on set. We'll come back to that. First off, there was a lot of delays, and we never found out what the reason for this was. There also seemed to be a lot of tension on the set. Although nothing was said, you just got that feeling. When I met Blake, she gave me a perfunctory handshake and said, "Pleased to meet you." But she didn't make eye contact and just looked down on the floor. I was a wee bit stunned by this, but I brushed it off as it was late in the day and maybe she was tired. And also, she was being introduced to a few actors at once. The scene was set in a rundown brothel in London. She says Blake was playing a junkie who was working as a prostitute. The next day, as we filmed the scene, she came up to me without making eye contact again and asked me to tug on her washed-out looking jacket, as you would do to a kid that was misbehaving, to indicate that they should remove it. As I turned to ask like this and demonstrate the move, she turned away and said, "Oh, never mind," and walked off, like I'd pissed her off and I was too difficult of a direction for me to take, all spoken to me without making eye contact. In my mind, I'm going, what's her problem? But as the director called action, I said to myself, F you. And then I did the move anyways. She says the next day there were a lot of delays again on the set, and there was another scene with a stunt actor, the lovely Raza Jaffrey, and then she felt good about herself again. However, the afternoon I had a scene with Blake and the stunt actor. We sat on the set as they were doing lighting and setting up the camera. She was sitting opposite me, and I asked her if she wanted to run the scene. A very normal thing to do for an actor. She didn't answer. She just shook her head to indicate no, and got up and walked off the set. So then her standing came in and sat in her place. I asked her if she minded to go over the scene with me and ran the lines, and she said yes. When they were ready for the take and Blake came in and sat back down, there was something wrong, and we both were asked to go and sit in the other room until it was sorted out. We were both shown to another set, which was a sleazy brothel room, and as we both walked in through the door, I said to her, "I know it's just a set, but doesn't it give you the creeps?" She again ignored me and sat on the side of the bed as I sat on the end, and I heard her voice and thought she was answering me, but the voice was coming from her laptop, which she had opened, and she was watching a video of all her lovely clothes and shoes and commenting on them. Then, still ignoring me, she called for the director to come into the room and asked her if this was okay to send to someone instead of doing a meeting with them. I had no idea if it was for an interview or blah, 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 a wardrobe for a movie. She sat there talking to the director as I didn't exist, and I felt so uncomfortable that I left the room and asked one of the ADs if I could sit and wait in another room. When I read this, I was like, that's exactly what she did to me in that interview. She just ignored me and started talking to Parker Posey. So yeah, it just makes so much sense to me that she did that. She just ignores people. So that in itself is like, she's not saying directly something rude to someone. It's just like the behavior, her body language. It's just like, you're not worthy of me, of my time, of my words. So I'm just going to ignore that you exist. She continues to say that after 10 minutes, they were ready and we went back in and did the scene a few times. When I went back to the green room, I said to some of the other actors, "I don't like Blake." Someone said yes. A few others have said the same. One girl said she was fine with her, and others just looked down at the floor. We had fun with Daniel Mays at the last day. Although it was a violent scene, he kept it very light and made us all laugh and didn't have any lines with Blake. And here comes another story, which is absurd to me. She says that the set was secured, meaning that no one from the outside were allowed onto the set. It was closed off, it was security there, so it was only the actors and people involved in the film. She said here that Blake Lively had a bodyguard with her at all times, and when she was in her fitting room or in her wardrobe, she had a security guard standing outside, and he would also walk with her around the sets. She says here that, "I understand if you want to have a bodyguard outside because of paparazzis or fans or whatever." Even when she walked from the set to her own dressing room, she says, still in the same building, he would come down, this security guard, and walk with her like we were going to mob her. It was completely ridiculous. We were all actors and 4 extras. She said that everyone else was really nice, but she was so rude, dismissive, and belittling, and I've disliked her ever since. I watch gleefully as she gets so rightly put in her place every day by some content creator somewhere. She said that everyone else was lovely on this set. Barbara Broccoli and Michael G. Wilson, who we know are the producers of the James Bond movies as well, came up and apologized for the delay, and they were so nice, and they invited them to another premiere, and they had a reception afterwards with food and wine and whatever. Yeah, she said everyone was very nice to her during this whole shoot. This just reminds me of all the other people I've spoken to who have worked with Blake Lively, and there aren't many good stories. I haven't told all of them here on my show because a lot of people didn't want me to even mention their stories. but I probably gotten emails from over 20 people who have been working with her in some capacity. And I haven't received anything from anyone who worked with her who had a pleasant experience with her. I just think that says a lot about a person. And from all the things we now know, I mean, yeah, I'm not surprised anymore. Anyways, thank you so much for sharing your story with us, all of us. I really appreciate it. And yeah, guys, thanks for watching Flawsome Talk. And yeah, again, if you haven't subscribed, please do, and hit the notification button so you don't miss an episode of Flawsome Talk. And send me tips and keep the engagement going, you guys. I love it. Take care and be nice to each other. And I'll see you in my next episode. Bye.